Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Hiba, and here on my channel I post missing person content. If you're into that type of content, go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Today I want to talk about David Schultz. David is a 53-year-old man missing from Wall Lake, Iowa. He hasn't been seen or heard from since November 21st, 2023, so it's coming up on 2 months already. The circumstances of his disappearance are very concerning, so let's just get right into it. David is a truck driver and was actually transporting a load of pigs at the time of his disappearance. He left his home in a hurry on the evening of November 20th and arrived in Eagle Grove to pick up the load. His destination was Weichmann's hog buying station in Sac City. Unfortunately, he never showed up to actually make that delivery. At around noon on the 21st, David's employer reached out to David's wife, Sarah, to ask if she had heard from him. I think the employer may have even gone to their house to ask, but regardless, after Sarah learned that David failed to make the delivery, she tried to contact him herself, but was unsuccessful. After many more unsuccessful attempts and speaking to family and friends, she reported David missing to law enforcement. Not even an hour after she made the report, a Sac County road employee reported that a semi-truck is parked in the middle of the northbound lane of US Highway 71. It turns out that the 1999 Peterbilt Semitruck Found was David's, which doesn't make a lot of sense because it was facing the opposite direction that he was supposed to be going. The highway itself where the truck was found seems very rural, and I'll include some images so you can see it yourself and get a feel of the area. As you can see, it's surrounded by cornfields, and if you go a few miles further, it actually turns into a gravel road. Also, I want to point out that there isn't really much of a shoulder, especially not wide enough for a semi-truck to pull off onto, so maybe it wasn't too uncommon to stop right in the lane. So like I said, David's truck was found. It was unlocked and off, but the keys were left in the ignition. Inside the truck, police found David's cell phone, still in the holder, I believe. They also found his wallet with $2,000 inside. According to his wife, this wasn't strange or out of the ordinary, since David typically paid for everything in cash, including gas. The load of pigs he was transporting was left undisturbed. David himself, however, was nowhere to be found. In an attempt to find him, law enforcement brought a canine unit to assist in the search. The canine ultimately led them to a ditch across the road, where David's coat was discovered. In the pocket, police found a pocket knife, phone charger, and a small towel. But no David. So what could have happened? Where is he? Well, authorities have been able to get a hold of David's movements that night. From what's been released, we know that he stopped at a rest stop at marker 126 on US Highway 20 at around 11:15 p.m. I believe he was there for approximately 16 minutes. After that, phone pings showed David's phone arriving at the intersection of Highway 20 and US 71 at around 12:18 a.m. I believe this could be a pivotal intersection due to the timing. The pings then traveled north to where the truck was ultimately found. It turns out that the truck had been there since 12:40 a.m. This kind of threw me off because, as we know, the call about a truck being stopped there wasn't until the next afternoon. I would expect someone to call it in sooner, but maybe that's not the case because of the location. Maybe the area isn't well traveled, or it's not uncommon for trucks to stop there. I'm not really sure, but it seemed bizarre to me that this huge truck could sit there for over 12 hours in the middle of the lane without being called in. Is this normal? If any viewers watching are truckers yourselves or know any truckers, maybe you can provide some context in the comments. Also, if you're from the area, please weigh in below. But what happened to David? There are many theories in this case. Some believe David intentionally left, either to start a new life or potentially harm himself. There's also been mention of David running away in the past and returning a few months later. Those who know David, however, do not believe that this is the case. According to his wife, Sarah, David is a hardworking family man who loves his family. At the time of his disappearance, he was working especially hard since Christmas was approaching, and he wanted to make it special for his twin boys. Others believe David could have been potentially involved with something illegal, potentially having to do with drugs, and that what happened to him was a result of that. If this is the case, it might explain why he stopped at the rest stop for 16 minutes. Maybe he needed to pass some time until he was supposed to meet someone, especially if that person was running late. So maybe David was delivering something else that night, went to the meeting point, and something went wrong. But if this is the case, why leave behind his wallet, which we know had $2,000 in it? Also, why leave some of his clothes behind? I'm sure that wouldn't be a priority if someone did do something. Another theory is that David saw another truck or car that needed help, which is why he stopped initially, but that something went wrong from there, whether it was planned or not. Along these lines, some have pointed out that David had to switch load spots, so someone else was supposed to be making this trip. Is it possible that that driver was the intended target for whatever happened that night? We also know that it took the truck nearly 20 minutes to travel 3 to 4 miles after stopping at marker 126. If it was David, did he stop again for some reason? Was he starting and stopping? Or could it have been someone else driving? Potentially someone inexperienced with driving a semi, hence the short distance traveled in that amount of time. Unfortunately, we really don't know, and at this point, it seems like anything is possible. My heart breaks for his family and friends, especially for Sarah and his boys, and I hope they get some answers soon. David is 5'11" and weighs 180 pounds. He has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, please contact the number in the description below. I'd love to hear what you all think, so please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video and for listening to David's story. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.